There's a really good one here. Oh, it's the big boy. This is not what you would call survival food. Boom, snap that off. Oh yeah. It's not a food of last resort in case everything goes to shit. Ha 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 ha. It is fucking delicious. Wow, it's a big boy. If it's properly prepared. That's nice. Hey everybody, I'm Sean Rao and I am in my favorite poke patch. Poke, American poke or pokeweed, Phytolacca americana. It's typically found on the eastern half of the US, but also I believe it's been introduced to the West Coast too, so there are some patches out there where you can find it. But for the most part around here, where I live in upstate New York, you can definitely find it when you know what to look for. So the time to harvest poke is when it is young and tender. We'll get into all of that. There's a lot of lore around this plant. It is both very toxic and also absolutely delicious when properly prepared, properly harvested correctly. So we're going to talk all about this plant. I'm going to show you how to safely ID it. I'm going to show you how to safely harvest it. I'm going to show you how to safely prepare it for the table. So poke has a long history of use by Native American tribes such as the Cherokee, the Iroquois, and used both as food and as medicine. Also in the American South, it is still consumed and was a lot more popular back in the day. There's a song called Poke Salad Annie by Tony Joe White. It was written about the plant, or at least the plant is referenced in the song. And also there's festivals based around this plant in the South. It was a very popular herb to harvest. It's been handed down from generations. Everybody's got their own method of processing. And it was also commercially canned at one point. So despite being highly toxic when raw, this is obviously a very, very important edible food. Many people have gotten sick from eating raw poke, and the chances of it poisoning you and you getting gastrointestinal severe cramping and all of that is pretty high up there. So don't eat it raw. And don't gather the mature leaves. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I was introduced to this plant. Now, I've been consuming this, eating this, and enjoying it for about 6 or 7 years, and I've never been poisoned, but I've always followed the instructions of my friend and expert forager Samuel Thayer, who has a wonderful book out, and poke is featured in that book. It's called Incredible Wild Edibles. A lot of my instructions here are based on that book. I've never been steered wrong by what Sam has put out there. Now, everything that I explained to you with the processing and harvesting might seem like a lot of trouble to go through for dinner, but it's that good. This plant is so outstanding in flavor, the texture, it's so mild and tender, but only when you properly prepare it. It's got to be boiled. Poke is a native perennial plant. Now, perennial means that it's going to be living for more than 2 years, and it can live for a long time, like years, decades. So generally speaking, the older the root of the plant usually means that the shoots that come up will sometimes be a lot thicker, which in the case of harvesting it for food, that's ideal. In my case here, I'm finding some relatively large shoots, some older plants, but I'm also harvesting all of what I take home is young and tender, meristematic. We'll get into that. Let's talk about how to ID this plant. So one of the things that you'll notice about poke when it's mature is it gets huge. And there's really no mistaking a mature poke plant for anything else. For one thing, it has magenta red stems and these dark purple black berries. It's just gorgeous and beautiful, and it's heavily branched. It just looks like it's out of this world. Like it belongs somewhere tropical or something. It's amazing. But that's not at the stage that we're going to gather it for food. We want shoots. We want young and tender. We don't want the plant going into flower. So you're never going to harvest poke when it has already gone into flower. A great way to find poke to begin with is to look for last year's dead stalks, which are kind of unmistakable. You'll see them as these white sort of skeletons, and they're really thick and robust, and they're usually lying on the ground, or sometimes they're upright. And sometimes you'll even see the fruit cluster, the skeleton of the fruit cluster on the plant still. And then look around, because if you show up in the spring where those dead stalks are, you might see some poke shooting out. Let's talk about meristematic and what that means. It's an excellent skill for a forager to know what meristematic is, and to know what it looks like, and to know what it feels like. So meristematic means the active part of the plant that's growing. It's where the cells are actively dividing in the plant. Different parts of the plant could be meristematic, but in the case of poke, we want the shoots to be meristematic. We want to gather the shoots, and the shoots only. Meristematic shoots will have leaves that are more vertical in this case. They're also sometimes a different color. And with poke, you can see sort of like a lighter shade of green. You'll also notice that the leaves are more delicate. They might even be shiny to some degree. And also it's the feel. So it's not only the visual clues, but it's the feel. A young meristematic shoot will be bendy. And that quality of it to bend and to sort of flop over is really key when determining how meristematic it is by feel. As you go down towards the base of the plant, it's going to get more and more fibrous. So you really have to feel that, because sometimes you have to come up a little bit from the base and then snap it off. If you need scissors with this plant, if you need to use your knife to cut the stalks, then you're probably gathering it too late, because what will happen is when the cells are not actively dividing in that spot, when the energy goes, like, say, up into the flower, it starts to get more stiff in the stalk. And that's why we don't gather that part, because not only is it a possibility that the toxins will be more concentrated in the more mature parts of the plant, but it's also a matter of it being tender. We don't want a lot of fibrous, woody material in the part that we're going to be gathering for food. We want it to be tender and enjoyable when we eat it. So we're looking for those floppy, bendy plants that are growing fast. When poke matures, when it gets older, the leaves will flop down and relax, and that's a sign that the poke is too old to harvest. Key feature to poke, though, is these two lines that run on opposite sides of the stalk where it attaches at the node, and there's one on the other side of the stalk. Very key characteristic of this plant. If we look at the leaf arrangement, it's alternate. The leaf edges will be kind of wavy and ruffled if the plant is young. You tend to see that a lot. Also, the leaf margin is toothless, so we call that entire. So keep an eye out for these characteristics. And obviously, like I said, you don't want to see the flower. If you see the flower parts, it's going to be too old to harvest. So it doesn't matter the size of the stalk. You can find these monster stalks that are still meristematic. They're still young and tender. I tend to find better plants to take home that are more robust in dappled sunlight or partial shade. Let's go harvest some of this. Boom. Snap that off. Oh yeah. The smell, very distinctive. Nice. There's a really good one here. Oh, this is a big boy. Wow, this is a big boy. Oh, nice. Wow, look at how nice and green that is. No red. I just wanted to show you this this branch there's all this black locust out here. This branch got knocked down from one of these trees here, and these flowers on black locusts are so good. There's a little yellow, a tinge of yellow in there, and when that is bright, the flower is fresh, and you could just eat these right off the raceme, right off the flower cluster. They're kind of wet because we had a really hard rain yesterday, but the flavor is so good. Anyways, it is really okay if there's red on the stem. It's recommended that you peel that off of the stem if you can before you boil it. The sky is about to open up, so I'm going to get these home. Elderberry? Yeah, elderberry. Not ready yet, though. Poke you in the butt. Poke salad.
Okay, so when we get the shoots on the table, this is how I separate them for boiling. We're going to separate them from the bigger stalks, which we're going to cook separately, and from the leafy tops. And if the stalk is really small, if it's really thin, like pencil thick or smaller, then I'm just going to cook them with the leaf tops. So you take your shoot, make sure the whole thing is very flexible, and I'm just going to remove any leaves at the bottom that, especially that don't look so great from being in the bag. If there's any red on the stems, I'm going to peel that off. It's really easy to peel. This one doesn't have much, but it's kind of stringy. Clip the tops off. Put those in that pile. And then this stalk is ready to be boiled separately over there. Again, clip those tops off. And nice, put that there. And the leaves that don't look quite so right to me are going in the compost pile.
If you're wondering at this point why we're even going to go through the trouble of this, if you're a little scared about being poisoned, just think about it this way, that you wouldn't eat a potato raw. You certainly shouldn't eat a raw kidney bean because you're most likely going to get very sick, right? Many plants have to be processed in some way in order to make the nutrients in a plant more bioavailable. It may be needing some process to make the plant more tender. So this plant is no different, okay? It's been maligned a lot because it has caused some severe poisoning in people that have not processed it correctly or who have not harvested the plant correctly. So this plant, poke, really needs to be respected all throughout the process, from the identification through the prepping, through the eating of it. So don't skimp on any of the steps here with this plant. All right, so let's go over how to separately process the thicker stalks, that is, stalks that are a little under thumb thickness and above, and then the leafy tops with the smaller stems that can't really be peeled well. Okay, so we're going to process those differently. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to contend with our stalks first. It's a really good idea to peel them. I would recommend peeling them unless they are just really impractical to peel. Like this one here, that is just a little too small to peel. I mean, if it has any red on it, I can peel it like this a little bit with my, just with my thumbnail, and I can get, you know, some of that off, but it's just a little bit too small. So I'm going to put that in the pile where the leaf tops are and the smaller stems. But let's get a nice, good example here. Okay, so here's one that starts out about, it's a little smaller than my thumb in terms of the thickness of it. But if you have, I find that one of these Y peelers works pretty good on this. So if we go down and just carefully, you don't want to go too far in because you don't need to, but you'll see when you actually peel it, you'll get to this sort of creamy center. But we just go along here, right, until we just get as much of that skin off as we can. If you're patient with it, I mean, it's not hard. It's just a little bit time consuming. And I would totally recommend you to do this at least on your first time around, to peel these stalks before you boil them. So there we go. And we'll just keep on doing the rest of these in the same way.
Okay, so we got these stalks peeled. We're gonna get rid of the skins. Don't need those. And then we're gonna create some more surface area with these stalks so that they'll boil more efficiently by cutting them down. Now I usually do about a 1/4 inch thickness of these, so that seems about to be right. All right, so we're gonna set these aside while we process the leafy tops and smaller stems. We're gonna just bunch them up like this. It's the way I like to prep a lot of greens that I'm gonna be frying or sauteing or boiling or what have you. And I'm just gonna cut these into more manageable sizes, create some more surface area on there, just like we were doing with the stalks, and have them like that. Okay, these will take longer to boil, so we will get this ready. Okay, so I see that our water is boiling, and now we can throw in our leafy tops and greens. Just get those in there. So we're gonna do that. And we're gonna put the lid right back on. And we're gonna wait until that comes back up to a boil before we even start our timer. So remember, we're gonna boil this in 2 changes of water. I'm gonna boil it first for about 4 minutes, and then I'm gonna boil it for another 6 minutes in a separate change of water. All right, let's do it. Okay, now that water is starting to boil, I'm gonna start my timer now. 4 minutes. Every once in a while, I might lift the top off just to push the stuff that looks like it might be getting stuck. You really want that water to really roll and move the plant matter around. Now, while that's boiling, you could get a large pot of really cold water. This is just ice water. And we're gonna take what is in the second boil, we're gonna dump it into this cold water to shock it. It's also gonna give it an extra rinse, but we can set that aside. We're not gonna use that yet. All right, so there goes our timer. And we're gonna strain it real quick. Come on, guys. Get up. Seriously, guys, come on. We got our second pot on there, and that water's hot, but it's not quite boiling yet. We're gonna stick this in here. And this is for the second round, right? So I'll get all that stuff in there. Top on that. We're gonna set our timer for 4 minutes on the second boil. Keep the top on. Okay, our timer is about to go off, so we're gonna try to work quickly here. And we're gonna shock these in cold water as quick as we can. And the idea here is you don't want them to cook any further, but this cold water is gonna give them an extra rinse to wash off any remaining residue that might be left over from removing the toxins. And when I say removing the toxins now, that doesn't mean that you're gonna get every last single bit of it. It's just like any plant, just about. They have so many chemical components to them, and some of them are really beneficial to us and some of them are not so much. But you know, by processing them, you're gonna reduce the interaction as much as possible. And we're gonna let our bodies and our livers take care of the rest. Now, let's just take some of this out. Let's take a look. So even after that long boiling there, you can still see that the plant has some integrity left. The greens didn't turn to mush.
And there is a turning point where if you boil this too long, it is going to turn into just a green mush and it's going to lose all integrity. Get off. I highly recommend that you take a small piece after this boiling process and you taste it. Don't have it with anything else. Just let it sit in your mouth for a minute and see if you notice anything. I noticed that this is incredibly mild. It's incredibly tender. There's no hint of burning sensation, no heat or anything like that. If you do get that sensation, that either means that you gathered the plant in the wrong stage or that you haven't boiled it enough, likely. And again, your body could be totally different and you might react differently. Take a piece of leaf and see if you get the same reaction. Really good. Okay, so this is finished poke that's ready to use in anything we want to make with it. We're going to set that aside because we're going to cook the stalks right now. Okay, so that water is boiling. So let's get these stalks in there. So as soon as we put them in, we're going to set our timer for 8 minutes, okay? 8 minutes. And the reason that we are cooking them for 8 minutes instead of longer in several changes of water is because that they are the peeled stalks and they are understood to be less toxic. Now, after doing this for the first time, you might decide that you need to cook it longer, especially if you didn't peel those stalks, then you might want to cook it for an extra couple of minutes. Over here, we got some fresh cold water because we're gonna, again, shock those stalks into the cold water after we're done, rinse them off, and we'll be ready to use those in the dish that we're gonna prepare.
Okay, so we're gonna make something based on a southern dish called poke salad. And don't let the salad throw you off. It was also called salad with a T, and it's kind of bastardized term. Basically what it meant was originally a mess of cooked greens, a bunch of cooked greens, not salad. And obviously, by everything we've been talking about, you can't eat this raw. So, as I do a lot, I'm gonna fry up some garlic first. So what I have here, what the garlic is cooking in, is actually rendered beef fat. Traditionally, this is made with, usually with bacon, but instead of bacon, I'm going to use sausage. A few cumin seeds, you stick in there as well. As soon as it gets some nice color, I'm going to take it out because obviously I don't want to burn it. I don't want to do that. That's probably all there now. All right, take this out. Save you guys. Pepper. Ooh. Yeah, I forgot the hot pepper. So hot pepper. Onions. Put our onions in there. I think we're ready for the next stage. Got some nice browning and sausage there. And I do need to deglaze the bottom of that pan a little bit. So I'm going to add in a little bit of apple cider vinegar. That might help. A little bit. Yeah. Alright. Add some nice flavor to it too. Now, let's get fancy. How about we start putting in this poke? Get that poke in there. all around, good and coated. Also, I'm not sure if I'm going to love this, but olives. I love olives. And why not, guys? Come on. More pepper. Yep. Everything you want, pepper. All right. Put this garlic back in. And then we are almost there. I'll mix this around one more time. And then what you want to do, because we're going to put our eggs in next, I want to make sure I have enough grease at the bottom so the eggs don't stick too much, but we'll see. It'll be okay. I'll probably get some stick in there. But you want to move everything to the side and get your eggs in there. And start whipping them up a little bit. Just don't mix them in yet with the other stuff. You gotta just be patient. Get them to where they're almost, I was gonna lick my fingers. Very close. I'd say a couple more stirs and it's going to be the way that I want it. There we go. Slowly just incorporate that in. All the goodness right there. Yeah, that's pretty great. Trying to get it stuck. Come on. I do like it with the olives. Pretty great. The only thing this needs is hot sauce, and my camera is in the way of my fridge where the hot sauce is. It's the only downside to this experience right now. Otherwise,
Friends, I want to thank you for joining me on this little adventure. I want to thank Samuel Thayer for giving me the courage to really start enjoying this plant. I hope you guys do too. Hope you get out there. I hope you really learn to love and respect this plant like I do. If you want to take a class directly from me, you want to get out there and you want to forage, whether it be your family, you as an individual, you can reach out via seanrao.net and you can go onto my foraging page and sign up for a class, sign up for a workshop. I'll take you out, I'll show you all the goodies.